Hi, welcome back to Get Your Ohm On. I'm going to be holding my Lemurian crystal as I do some of this reading. I find that the more I use it and the more I tap into it, the more connected I feel. Wanted to start. I was thinking about the name of my channel, Get Your Ohm On, and I guess it's been several weeks now since I started this channel. There was somebody that commented on the name, and I thought it was kind of funny. They're like, get your ohm on. It's like, ohm. It's not the 70s, you nitwit. And I'm just like, whatever. You have to just blow it off because that's the only choice. It's their energy. But the way I feel about it is if there are people out there that think that the sound ohm is a 70s thing, or it's out of vogue, or it's out of fashion or style. Ohm never goes out of style. Ohm never goes out of fashion. It's not something that's relegated to the 70s. It's just as powerful today as it was then, and as it was in the 20s and even farther back in history. It's a sound that you make that strengthens the connection between you and spirit. And I find that when I meditate and and chant a series of ohms before I fall into my meditation, the connection is a lot stronger. And if you are one of those people like I used to be, who I was like, meditation, I hate it. Oh, you just sit there and do nothing. Try listening to some Om chanting music. You can actually find playlists of Om chanting music on Spotify. Some of those playlists you have to go through and be careful because they play more than just Om chanting. You want to find one or create your own that is simply just Om chanting. And there's a variety of them out there, and I've got a really good playlist that I have built of Om chanting. But it's the way you say it. It's not Om. You can. But I guess a proper way of saying it when you're chanting is to go, Om. So you drag it out. You start with an ah, and you kind of oh, and then you make the O sound, and then you go, and you just say that over and over. My cats kind of freak out when I Om. I've got two over here, and they're both like, what's that? What's happening? I have a couple that don't really care. One of these days, I'll show you my temple cat. I call him my temple cat. His name is Flash, and he's all black. And back in the time of Atlantis, all cats were black, and they did reside in the temples, and they did help the priests and priestesses by moving crystals around to create the right positions to bring in the right amount of light or the right healing energy that was needed to do or to perform a ritual. So that's why I call my cats temple cats. So one of these days I'll show Flash to you, but he's sleeping somewhere now. I do have a tarot reading for you today. I pulled these cards the other day after I watched Mellissa Free Range Psychic's latest video. I wanted to verify something that she had said in her video about Donald Trump dying or possibly dying by the end of August. And just to be clear, I do not want this man to die. If he dies, we don't learn the lesson. If he dies, his followers will simply beat the drum harder, and he'll become this martyr. He'll become a hero to these people, and he will not face justice, and he needs to face justice. So I am putting all kinds of prayer and light and love and energy toward keeping him alive as long as possible so that he can face justice. And there's something I just thought of. I'm going to push pause for just a second. I wanted to read you something that I read yesterday. Hold on. I'm back. Okay, make sure it's running. Yes. So I was reading in this book by Diana Cooper. It's called A New Light on Angels by Diana Cooper, and she is a wonderful spiritual teacher. I've just started reading this book. I'm actually supposed to be reading this book first, and I am. But I tend to just kind of read through this one after I've done a little bit of work on the other one. And she had a chapter on guardian angels. It's chapter 5, and she wrote some things about love. Now, you all know that I come on here and I talk very strongly about how we need to send Donald Trump love and light. And I know a lot of you have a really hard time with that. And then that you find it very hard to send this man love and light. But this is why you want to do that. First of all, she's talking about when we first start talking about this concept of sending love, she's actually referring to a story that she had just relayed about a child, a mother, a parent, and their child. And she said that it's about how the parents and children, the relationship there. It says most parents think they are being good parents when they worry about their children. They are not. Worry is a heavy, dense, negative vibration, much like fear. When we direct worry with force toward our beloved child who is psychically linked to us, we open our child to disease, danger, and negative influences. Black, brooding fear and worry energy. I'm sorry, let me read that sentence again. Black, brooding fear and worry energy can make a sensitive child ill. And right now, a lot of children are being born sensitive. They're actually being born at a higher vibration than we were as adults were born. A lot of children are being born with psychic gifts. They are being born already connected or in the fifth dimension. So these are children who are already sensitive. So if you're a parent and you're worrying about your child, you're hurting them. Okay? So it says when we send love, healing, and positive thoughts to our child, we surround our offspring with a protective, joyous force. If we also ask our child's guardian angel to protect him or her, our love energy opens the way for the guardian angel to link more closely to the child. And that was the story that she had told, where this mother had asked her child's guardian angel to please protect her child. And because this woman had so much love for her child, this guardian angel actually did. There was a story, and it was really neat. Anyway, if you want to read this book, you'll be able to read it. So this goes down a little bit further. Says, when you think of a war zone, do not focus on the bad things happening there. This energizes the darkness. Instead, picture peace coming into the area. Ask the angels to help the people there. Your prayers become pathways of light for the angels to enter and assist. It says, if we hear, read about, or see bad news in the media, we can pause for a moment and send light to the person or area. This assists more than we have any concept of. The love and light we send can avert disasters or help and heal others. And this is why, I saw an earthquake, actually a volcanic eruption and an earthquake in the Pacific Ocean. I was getting this warning that this was going to happen back in July. And I would just sit and I would just envision and visualize love and light being shined into the area where I was told this was going to happen, so that it didn't. And we had an earthquake in California, but we didn't have this one out in this volcanic eruption apparently out in the Pacific. It was supposed to have caused a tsunami and everything. And I think it was because I had asked people to send love and light to this area. And I was sending love and light to this area like every day or whenever I thought about it. And you can avert disasters if you stop and really focus your intention and your light in that area. Okay, it says evil, or the terrible feeling of being separate from source, as I prefer to see it, is afraid of light and love. Sending waves of love to the minds of evil people and leaders who place personal power above the happiness of their people will wash out the need for control and abuse and allow freedom to return. That is why I say to everybody, you've got to send Donald Trump love and light. Because if you're just sending him hateful thoughts and wishing that he would die and worrying about the next thing he's going to do next, you're just feeding that dark energy and you're not helping to resolve it or heal it. Okay? That's enough on that. I did have a Reiki session yesterday. I mentioned it, I think, in my last video or in a comment or something, and I was asked, let us know how it goes. So I'm going to let you know how it went. It was wonderful. I asked my guides before I went what they thought of me getting this Reiki healing, and they told me they were pleased that I was doing it and that it was going to raise my light. and that it would get rid of this attachment that was in my energy field that has been causing me all kinds of problems. And when I was on the table getting this energy treatment, at one point, I had my eyes closed and it was very quiet and very peaceful in the room. And she had her hands on me in various positions. And I saw kind of toward the end of this healing, this little thread. I kind of saw it in my mind's eye, this little thread of something. It looked like a hair come out of my head, and something took it and went and pulled it away. And I don't know if that was the attachment. I don't know if it was something else. I think it had something to do with my brother, because I had just been thinking about my brother, and then this happened. And then I was like, what was I even just thinking? And my brother and I have, we have cut ties. I've cut ties with my brother because he's a Trump supporter and he is absolutely consumed with hate. And I cannot have that in my energy field in any way, shape, or form. And so I told him, I can't be around you anymore. I can't talk to you. I just can't. Your energy is so toxic that it does me damage. It does me harm to even talk to you. So, and I sent him love and I pray for him. And I told him that I don't wish him ill will. I just can't be around it. And he flew off the handle and accused me of being a liberal, progressive propagandist who was threatening and intimidating him. And I was just like, what? He must have used the word progressive and propaganda and liberal in a short, paragraph text. He must have used it 24 times. Those words, 24 times. But that's what Rush Limbaugh and alt-right radio and Donald Trump, those are their rhetorical talking points. And he was just vomiting those right out the way they've been puked into his own head. So I was just like, dude, I'm not trying to intimidate you. I'm just done. So, bye. And that was the end. But it was troubling me. That encounter was troubling me. And when this went and out of my head during Reiki, it was like, it hasn't troubled me since. I'm like, that was the right decision to make, as hard as it was. And I feel very at peace with it now. There was another couple of situations at the very, very end where I saw like a little orb in my mind's eye, and it was like, it just went whoosh, and it pulled out, and then it did the same thing over here, which is kind of another little orb, a little white something, just kind of went whoosh, and it was like a little poof. And I came home, I sat down with my pendulum, and I asked the pendulum, something else happened, but I pulled my pendulum out and I said, so, do you have any messages for me now that I've had this done? This is not the chain. This is important here to the message I got. This is not the chain that I was wearing with my St. Michael pendant. On the way home, my sterling silver chain broke. Because it was very long and it got caught. And as I went to turn my steering wheel, it snapped because it got caught in the seatbelt. I wear my seatbelt. I'm safe. But it broke my chain. So I wasn't wearing this at the time. And my pendulum spelled, "Where's Mike?" And actually it spelled "Where Mike." And I said, "Are you talking about my pendant?" And it was like, "Yes." And I said, "Do you want me to put it on a new chain and put it on?" And it said, "Yes." So I did. And the moment I had this on, my pendulum started to just swing in a circle. And it just was going really slow at first, and then it picked up speed, and it got going really fast, and the circle got bigger and bigger. And it just sat there, and this went on for several minutes. And I'm like, what is this doing? It wouldn't respond to questions. It wouldn't do anything but just spin in this really fast circle. And then finally, it slowed and it started to straighten out, and it pointed to the M on my pendulum chart. And that's how Michael lets me know that it's him. And I said, is my attachment gone? And he said, yes. And I said, is he gone permanently? And he said, yes. And I think that that's what that was doing, that Michael was getting rid of my attachment. But I was very peaceful. It was a wonderful night. I actually went in and sat down in my chair It's not a lazy boy, but that's what I call it. And I had every intention of doing some work, and I passed out. And I was asleep for probably 2 hours. I held my crystal the whole time, and I had some weird dreams. And I just felt so peaceful. And the lady said, "You might be kind of tired." I was like, well, I was. She also said to drink a lot of water. So let me get a sip of water, and then I'm going to get into this tarot reading that I did for you guys. I drink Fiji water because it's not acidic. It's kind of a neutral water. You have acidic water and you have alkaline water. I drink that one because it's as close to alkaline as you can get without actually getting an alkalizer for your water, and that's very healthy for your body. Okay. So Mellissa Free Range Psychic, okay, let me make a note of the time, because I'm going to try to timestamp in the notes when the tarot reading starts for folks that don't want to see all the fun stuff that I talk about before. I did this tarot reading because of Mellissa Free Range Psychic's reading that she did the other day, where she was talking about Donald Trump, I believe, or Epstein. I can't remember what the actual topic was. I think it was Trump. But she got in her reading that she saw him transitioning, like a physical transition. And she was hesitant to say that it was death, but that's kind of how it felt to her. And I was like, oh boy, please no. As if you watch the first part of my video, you know that I don't want this guy to die, because if he dies, we don't get justice, and then he becomes this martyr, and we don't want that. So I said, all right, spirit, guides, my angels, I need you to give me a reading and tell me, is Donald Trump really going to die? Okay, so here's what I got. I'm just going to lift these up and show you. I did this on the fly, so I didn't do the video showing you how I picked the cards. So in the center of the reading, whoops, let's just put this over here. Center of the reading was this Knight of Coins, but then crossing the center of the reading was the King of Coins. These both represent Donald Trump. They represent Donald Trump then as this young, virile man who could do anything he wanted and get away with it and pull his you-know-what out and give it to any woman he thought that he wanted, whether she wanted it or not. And interestingly enough, there's a unicorn horn on this horse, on the headpiece of this horse, the bridle, if you want to call it that. I really was drawn to that, and I was drawn to it for the very reason that you probably think I was drawn to it, because that was his, you know what, his pinito. Okay, so we're just going to call it the pinito, because I'm sure it's as small as his hands. And that wasn't very nice of me, and I'm sorry. So this is what he was as a kid, as a youngster when he was 20 and 30 years old. But, Donnie boy, time has caught up. You are not a young man anymore. You have aged. Your health is in decline. You cannot do the things that you did before. And not only that, you cannot get away with them anymore. Times, they are a-changing. They have changed. And you keep wanting to act like this. Actually, there's another card in here, and he doesn't just want to keep acting like this. There's more. But this is where you are. You don't understand that you are an old man now. Not being old is a bad thing. But in his case, he has not taken care of himself, and it shows. Okay? Under the reading is more Donald Trump. This is not the card I was referring to just a minute ago, though. And this is confirmation. This was a confirmation card for me. In Mellissa Free Range Psychic's video, she got this exact card, only in another deck. The Knight of Swords. And it means in my reading exactly what it meant in hers. This is Donald Trump tweeting and tweeting and tweeting. And the more he tweets and the more panicked his tweets are, the more panicked he is in real life. Okay? So that was my confirmation card from Spirit, that I was reading on the same thing that Mellissa was. I love Mellissa, by the way. I just feel like she's a kindred spirit. And I've never talked to her. I've commented on her videos a few times. But she's kind of a kindred spirit for me. In the past, and this is a recent past. This isn't really so much far past. This is more recent. This is Donald Trump's life, the 9 of Swords. I had to look at that a moment. It's kind of dark. What I got very clearly is he's getting headaches. All of these swords point down into the head of this person that's in this bed, this terrified, anxious, worried, fearful person. And I thought, is he getting, and I asked, I said, is he getting headaches? And my spirits, my guides said yes. This indicates headaches, stress, anxiety, lack of sleep, probably even nightmares. I didn't ask specifically, but that just popped into my mind. So I think he's even having nightmares. But whatever's going on in Trump's world, it has caused him an enormous amount of stress and anxiety, whether he wants to admit it or not. He is not sleeping well. And I think this is part of the reason. Nancy Pelosi. Okay, this is my Nancy Pelosi card, the Queen of Wands. She's over this reading. She hangs over everything. She dogs his every step. She watches and waits. And she's looking for her moment to strike. And Donald Trump, the old man, knows it. She is there everywhere. And she is causing him an enormous amount of anxiety. Go, Nancy! Okay. In the near future, this is one of the extra cards that came in this deck. It's the Palace of Coins. I get this a lot for Trump. This is his businesses. It's his presidency. It's the Trump name. It's everything Trump. It's the family. It's all of it. It's the estate. It's the empire. And what's happening is the light is coming in and it's shining the truth on everything. It's shining on all of the crimes and it's revealing all of the lies, all of the misdeeds, and putting that all out there for the world to see in the near future. This is what's going to happen. And I believe it's financial. I mean, it's the Palace of Coins. This is shedding a light on everything financial in Donald Trump's world. And I believe it was Mellissa in her last video that said that every dime Donald Trump has, or maybe it was Linda G., comes from Russia. Everything. And every time I look at this, I get this very Russian feeling about that building. I see these domes on these spires, not spires, but on these towers. And I always get this very Russian feel. So maybe that's why. Because she, in her video, whether it was Linda G or Mellissa, did say that not 1 cent of it that Donald Trump has came from really him. It's all Russian money. It all came from Russia. And I think he's about to lose his Russian funding. Oh, here's the card that I was talking about a moment ago. In the self position is the Page of Coins. So we have, these all represent Donald Trump. This is the center of the reading. This is what he thinks he is. He thinks he's the young man with his pinito out for the world to see. And this is really who he is, which is an older man who's losing his health and going downhill very rapidly because he has not taken care of himself. But this is what he is in his self. This is the self card. It's the Page of Coins. And what I'm getting from this card is this is his brain in decline. That his brain is regressing into a childlike state, which does indicate to me that he has some kind of a brain disorder. It could be Alzheimer's. It could be Parkinson's. Could be dementia. My father died of Parkinson's, actually dementia, Parkinson's, the two combined. And it was hard seeing my dad kind of fall down that path. But this is what happens. The mind becomes very childlike. And I think anybody who's had a relative that's gone into this horrible disease understands what I'm talking about. And there's so much more to it. There's a violence. There's a very violent attribute that comes with somebody who has Parkinson's. And my dad tried to kill my stepmom because he thought that she was trying to go under, do some underhanded business and something. I don't even know. It was horrible, but she knew, and it was just like, okay, we got to do something. So if you look at his behavior, Donald Trump's behavior, he is violent. he does say things that come off as being really insanely crazy and like, what? Are you nuts? And it's like, in a way, he kind of is. Okay, so that's his self. He's regressing into this very childlike state. In the environment is Melania Trump, our Queen of Coins. We have the whole royalty, the whole court of Pentacles here in this reading. This is Melania. I get this all the time. She comes up a lot in my readings, and if you've seen some, you've seen this happen, her come up before. Sometimes she comes up as the not the Empress. Yeah, the Empress. But in this card, she came up as the Queen of Coins. This is Melania Trump saying, I got to get out of here, dude. I can't do this anymore. I got to go. So in the environment, she is really wanting to leave. She is so ready to divorce this man. Okay, now this is where this reading got very interesting. And it started to get into what I was asking about. Is Donald Trump going to die by the end of August? And was looking for confirmation about what Mellissa saw in her video, in her reading. I get in the hopes and fears position, which this is not a hope and it's not a fear in this particular reading. It's something else. It's something else. This is a Trump supporter who has been paid to build a bomb to take out a Democratic presidential candidate. I don't know who, and I didn't even want to ask. I'm like, I just felt like I wasn't supposed to ask, and so I didn't. But that's what this was coming through as, very clearly. This is a Trump supporter building a bomb, and he has been paid, or she, but I think it's a he, has been paid to do this. It's just what I'm getting, and my pendulum was saying yes, so let's throw some love and light at this idea so that it maybe doesn't happen. However, in the final outcome position, we have this Nine of Wands. And when I first looked at this card, I thought, what is this? I thought, this is somebody who looks very despondent, very unhappy and displeased. Like, this didn't go the way we thought it was going to go. And that's what my pendulum, my guides told me was going on in this card. This is Republicans. Okay, see all the red? This isn't Democrats. This is Republicans who are saying this did not go the way we thought it was going to go in any way, shape, or form. And when I asked, are we referring to this bomb? Or are we referring to Donald Trump's presidency in general? And what I got was both. That this is saying, we didn't think this bomb blowing up, the people that know about this, they didn't think it was going to go the way it went because it hits an unintended target. And that's what I'm getting, is an unintended target is hit. And I believe this person, whoever it is killed. I don't know if it's the Democratic presidential candidate or if it's somebody else, but if it's an unintended target, my bet is it's somebody else. But they also, this is Republicans also going, boy, we really thought that Trump was going to take this in a whole other direction. This is not how we thought this was going to go. Okay, I asked for a couple of clarifiers on that final outcome card. The first clarifier I got was the Five of Wands. This is Republicans fighting amongst themselves. It's more senators and representatives than it is voters. So what I was getting with this is the GOP tearing themselves apart. I mean, what happens with this is they're going to be at each other's throats, and they're going to be fighting like dogs and cats in a den of lions. Okay, or pride of lions, I'm sorry. Ultimately, though, we have the Justice card. Whatever this is, and I think it's a biggie. You've got a bomb involved. I think it's a big deal. Oh, and I also got that it's domestic not international terrorism. And we're coming up on the anniversary of 9/11. So I'm not real happy about that because there might be a tie-in with that here. I don't know. Trying to make it look like it was an international terrorist when it was really a domestic terrorist. That just came to me. My intuition just went and spit it out, so I'm giving it to you. But ultimately, justice will prevail. This will bring balance. It will balance the scales. It will bring, and this may take a while, but it will bring balance. All right, so that doesn't really answer the question, does it? Does Donald Trump die? So what I asked, I said, okay. So I went back to this card and I said, is Donald Trump the unintended target that gets hit? And I'm getting no. And I said, okay, but does Donald Trump die? And I got a yes. And I said, well, is that a literal death or is it a figurative death? And I got that it's a figurative death. That whatever is going on here, and I believe here with the shedding of the light on the finances, I believe that it's going to bring about the end of his presidency. It's so imminent. It's because I was asking for what his next 2 weeks look like. When I pull these cards, I want to know what his next 2 weeks looked like. Now, when it comes to tarot and doing psychic anything, time is very hard to nail down. It's very hard for the guides because we all have this free will thing that we do over here and we jack it all up. It's very hard for the guides to give us an exact timeline of when something is going to happen. But I went in looking for what his world was going to be like in the next 2 weeks. Okay. I also, because I was so interested in getting more answers on this, pulled some more cards. So let me just gather these up. Because I was like, okay, does he die or does he not die? And this was before I was able to really dig into these cards a little bit deeper. Because I did this reading 2 days ago. Full disclosure here, it was 2 days ago. So I said, let me do a 3-card reading, a past, present, future. And in the past, here she comes, the Queen of Cups. All the women who were abused when they were little girls. That's what this card has come to mean in all of my readings when it comes to Trump. All the little girls who were abused and who are now women, some of them probably having loved children, carrying Donald Trump's genes, and they've kept that all hidden. In the present, kapow. 10 of Swords. This is about as bad as it can get. It's one of the worst cards in the deck. I mean, this could be literal death or it could be figurative death, but it's bad. I mean, this is the end. This is the end. And it's a painful ending. Look at all these swords coming down into his back. If he doesn't die, he's probably going to wish he was dead. Okay? And future, the Emperor card. Now, this isn't what I saw when I looked at this card. What I saw was a city of gold and a very gigantic angel standing over that city, blessing it with love and light. This is the future. It's not the immediate future, but it is the future. And this future will only come about once Trump is gone. Okay? Now, I don't want him dead. I want him alive. But so I was asking, because I just couldn't leave well enough alone. I just started shuffling the cards and I said, is he, if I get the death card or the sun card, that's going to tell me that there's a death involved of some kind. And as soon as I said that, this card flew out of the deck. This is the death card. And then this card flew out of the deck. Judgment. Angel wings. Wake up call. We need to wake up. We need to wake up. And we are being called to awaken. And this has nothing to do really with him, with the death card and, the end of Trump. This has everything to do with this. It's time for humanity to wake up and bring about this beautiful future that we have waiting for us. Okay? And then I also got this card coming out of the deck. the Fool, which is a new beginning. It's for me, this card is the beginning of something new. And he is holding the world, and he's standing on this little ball with a kitten. But this Fool is holding the world. This is a new beginning for us. And it all started with the eclipse in July. So that's my reading. It's a figurative death, at least what I'm seeing right now. I really hope that is the case, because please, dear God, I don't want this man to die, because then it's just going to be bad. That's what I see, is if he dies or if he's killed, it's just going to be bad. We need him to live and face justice and go to prison and do his time and suffer the consequences of his actions. I mean, not suffer, but you know what I mean? Justice. We need justice. And he needs to have justice put upon him. All right, that's it. 35 minutes. And I love you guys. Remember, send love and light. And if any of you can get a Reiki healing, I highly recommend it. All right, love you. Bye-bye.